So tonight's AMA is with Lauren from SAP. She's about to introduce herself and share with you what her role entails, what her company's mission is, and provide some insider's look into what it's like to be kind of on the other side hiring people. And SAP being a global company, they don't just hire 10 people, 10 people each month. They hire thousands. And so this is a very unique perspective on what it's like for from their end to either train talent inside of their company or look out for bootcamp grads and other types of kind of sources to acquire new talent. So Lauren, I just want to say welcome and thanks for joining. You're muted, by the way. Let me unmute you. Okay, you're good now.
Cool.
Welcome, Lauren.
Awesome, thanks. Nice to see everybody and meet everybody. Super excited to be here. So just a little bit about myself. I've been with SAP for about 7 years. I came in through an acquisition. So I came in through SuccessFactors. It's an HR software company. And I've been focused on, I came in learning and development. So I've been working on building employee programs for the last 7 years. And I most recently have become a part of a SAP Engineering Academy. So this is a super new program for us at SAP. And this is the first year that we're building something like this out. So I'm really excited to be building something that helps engineers both internally as well as externally at SAP, and be a part of a global team and a global academy as well. So that's something that I am actually working on as we speak. We're launching October 7th, so we're just in the thick of it right now, getting all of our processes in order, how we select people, how we recruit people, what the curriculum looks like, what is the end-to-end experience for all of our participants. And then in particular, what I'm focused on is how do we start building up that tech talent pipeline? How do we build up that diverse funnel of amazing talent like all of you guys and gals?
I think you kind of glossed over it a little bit, but that acquisition of SuccessFactors, for the people that don't know, was a $3.4 billion acquisition, right?
Yeah, it was small, just a couple dollars,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can you give the I know when people join Career Karma, I'll usually ask questions around how many people work for Uber. So I'd love for people on the call to guess how many people work for SAP and how many of them are engineers. Anyone want to take a guess? Feel free to post your guesses in the chat.
Don't use Wikipedia.
Yeah. Post your guesses. So someone said 1,000, 100, 10,000, 5,000. And Lauren, I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but I think it's important for people to understand like roughly how big some of these companies are, like SAP, and how much opportunity exists to work at one of these companies.
Absolutely. So I don't have the exact number, but we're about 91,000 employees globally. We just did an acquisition. We acquired a company called Qualtrics in November of last year. So that number might fluctuate a little bit, but we're about at 91,000 employees. Wow. 30,000 of those are engineers.
Wow.
And it's crazy. We talk about it
this
here.
Is just one company, folks.
One company got more engineers than all the career companies.
This is just one company. And to give you an idea, right? Because a lot of people come to us and they're like, well, what if like there's not enough jobs for me by the time I get out of a boot camp, right? So the boot camp industry, so colleges graduate 50,000 computer science graduates every year. And boot camps graduate about 50,000 a year as well. But a company like SAP, just a single company, employs 30,000 engineers, which is wild, which actually shows how big of a role tech plays, because it drives not just it drives a lot of different even departments within SAP and within companies, because it's HR, it's what the consumers face, it's what products that you sell. So it's really truly amazing to hear, kind of coming from you, how many people that SAP actually employs.
I also think it's awesome that you all are starting an engineering academy, which indicates, at least to me, because I don't know all the details, that you all are also passionate about building talent as well. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. And, you know, I will say, at a very high level, our engineering academy is a big culture change project. So, and you'll see this in the news. So this isn't like top secret information, but one of our founders, Hasso, he has outright said that SAP in the market is not seen as an engineering academy, or I'm sorry, it's not seen as an engineering company. We're seen as a sales company right now. So our goal is to change that. And part of our big culture change project is to start bringing pride back into engineering again. And that's where the Engineering Academy grew from, is that idea that we really want people to see SAP as a career destination. If you're an engineer, a place where we innovate and we're building really amazing products and services for our customers globally. So that's how the Academy came about. We're just excited to start building this out. We're focused on junior engineers first. So we're looking at men and women that have, outside of SAP, anywhere from 0 to 2 years of experience. So we're not looking at expert engineers. We're looking at folks that are coming out of boot camps, coming out of universities. My main focus is to break down barriers for people to even apply for positions within SAP, in particular in tech roles. So, you know, looking at our job description, I've said I don't want a 4-year university degree. So we're not looking for 4-year degrees. We're looking for, do you have the grit? Do you have the attitude that we're looking for to build this amazing engineering culture at SAP? So point blank, we want people that have that amazing engineering attitude and just that ability to want to innovate.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Can you share with our folks a little bit about Career Commerce community? People are coming not just from Silicon Valley. In fact, Silicon Valley representation in the community is only a fraction. We have a ton of people from Texas, Georgia, DC, Florida, Mississippi, Northeast, Michigan, and companies like SAP. Where are the kind of hubs for you in terms of where you're hiring people? And then do you do any remote positions? Do you hire for any remote jobs?
Yeah, so we do hire for remote positions. Some of our main engineering hubs in particular are in Chicago, are in Atlanta, are in Reston, Virginia, are in Newtown Square, are in Bellevue, Washington, and of course here in the Valley. So those are just some of our hubs, but we also do focus on remote workers as well.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's really exciting. And I think, you know, when we talk about people coming into CareerCom, we really ask them why they want to become software engineers, and they share it. I think it's important for us to understand not just what SAP does, which I think you should explain, but also why you joined SAP. Or like, I know you came through an acquisition, but why you joined SuccessFactors and you stayed with SAP after?
Yeah, great question. So it starts on the bad note. I was working in a company in San Francisco, and it was not a good work environment. And I didn't have a lot of development opportunities. I felt really stuck. And so it just happened that my direct manager is amazing. And she used to work with the gal at Hewlett Packard. And one day she found a post on LinkedIn and said, hey, you know, I know we've talked about your career growth here and there isn't a lot of movement. It was a smaller company and the culture wasn't great. And she said, you know, there's this job posted for this company called SuccessFactors. It's an L&D, learning and development. Maybe it would be a good fit for you. So I go and apply. And it was just one of those feelings where when you meet people and you interview with them, you just know it's the right culture fit. These are people that, you know, even in the interviews itself, just really inspired me. Hearing their own career journeys and just the ability to innovate with these people that are just building these amazing L&D programs for employees internally was just something that really spoke to me. And so I got out of my not so great company and into Success Factors. And I was really put in this environment of just an amazing, innovative culture, no matter what level you are, if you're the CEO or you're, you know, working at the lowest level, which at the time I came in at the lowest level I could on the team, everybody gets in, gets their hands dirty and makes it happen, makes the projects happen, makes the customer, you know, experience. And it was really a really cool opportunity for me to see a company that's so successful, but really wasn't focused on, you know, a hierarchical structure. It was, hey, we have a job to get done. I don't care what your quote unquote title is. Let's just all get in and get the job done.
That's really cool. Yeah, and I think so far, like this is definitely, I think it's very motivational for a lot of folks on the call. Just to hear from someone who kind of started out like they have like just looking for careers, like interesting challenges, and here you are now in a position to like empower and create these pipelines for people from outside of tech to also break in. I think it's enough of us just talking. I think it would be great to just open it up for our community to ask you questions. So anybody wants to jump in and ask Lauren some questions? Don't be shy.
I will.
Yeah, jump in.
Okay, so you mentioned a lot of disciplines. Are you mostly looking for data science, or are you mostly looking for more software engineers? Because with an acquisition, that's a lot of data crunching, but then there's also so many intricate pieces behind it. So could you kind of give us more of a drill down of the skills that you're looking for? Because your company sounds exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you some examples of roles that we're looking for. Yes, we're looking for software engineers, full stack engineer, database engineer, front end, back end. We're looking for data scientists, yes, as many companies are. We're looking for UX, UI designers. So we're looking for a whole range of folks with any type of technical skill. We're also looking for folks that are interested in data visualization. So if you have experience working with, for example, Tableau, we're looking for folks that can create really cool looking dashboards. So those are just some examples. I mean, our company is quite large, so there's a lot of opportunity. And the cool thing is there's a lot of opportunity to work on in different teams. So the one thing, and I hear this from a lot of my colleagues that have come from other tech companies, you know, not to name any names, but the one thing I love about SAP is there's this just exponential opportunity to move around the organization. So we have programs called fellowship programs. So this is something where, you know, you've been in your team for a while, and then maybe you are interested in working on a different product or working in a different team for a little bit. Maybe it's 3 months or 6 months. You can actually do a fellowship in a different team and learn network and learn a different skill set in a different team. We have rotation programs. We have coaching programs, mentoring programs. So this is, when I came in to SAP, so I was fully integrated into the whole SAP ecosystem back in 2014. And the one, coming from learning and development, the one mission that we had was we wanted to create a learning culture at SAP. Because what we had found is companies that have learning cultures outperform their competitors when it comes to time to market, when it comes to innovation, when it comes to customer experience, obviously when it comes to the employee engagement and retention, all of that is impacted in a positive way when you have a learning culture. So even if you start in a role at SAP, say you start as a UX UI designer as an example, doesn't mean that you're stuck there. that you have to stay in that role forever. I mean, I have a lot of friends that have rotated.
I think that's a great. I think it's a great way, kind of an overview of how much opportunities there are to move laterally as well. Not just if you start out as an engineer. I think after a few years, you might just get bored of just writing code, and you might want to become an architect, or you might want to become an engineering manager and like manage others. And so I think and those are the trade-offs with startups versus larger companies. I think with startups, you're given a lot of autonomy, and if you're hired to work on this product and there's only 5 engineers, then most likely there's not going to be a lot of room for you to just jump around. But if you're at a company like SAP and there's 30,000 engineers, I'm sure you just want to retain the top talent. And so if someone wants to go work on a different product, why would you not let them do that? Because if that's what they're passionate about, right?
The other thing that I like about your learning culture is, like, we talk a lot about how, you're learning how to code, but then you get into a company, you get a job, then you're getting paid to learn, right? So, and the reason why is because your skills could be outdated, and you got to stay sharp and learn the theories and things like that. So can you talk about how you keep your employees sharp and keep them engaged, knowing the most current information?
Yeah, absolutely. So last year we had this campaign called Time to Learn, and it was a campaign that we ran globally. And what we had found is, we did some data analysis, and we had found the employees that even spent 3 hours of learning a week were, promoted faster, were moving around the organization at a higher rate. And we're getting just overall more successful, moving up faster or laterally faster, working on more strategic projects. And so what we ended up doing is we ran a campaign called Time to Learn, and we presented this data to our leadership, and we said, look, this is important for managers to encourage their employees to learn. Yes, we have deadlines. Yes, we have customer emails, etc. But it's also important for the longevity of the company, as well as for, obviously, our employees to continue to grow their skill set, upskill, reskill as needed. So that's something that we've found to be helping us continuously build out our learning culture, is running these campaigns and just reminding folks the importance of continuous learning.
Yeah, that's a great overview. I'm going to switch it up a little bit with the questions. Whoever is asking the next question, do you mind just introducing and giving like a 30-second overview of like what, like the type of company that you want to work for, or the type of problems that you want to solve? And then you can ask Lauren any question. Anybody wants to jump in next? Let's hear it. Don't be shy. I know everyone has a lot of questions.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Laura Hatch. I'm in Chicago. So I was glad to hear that you have a base here. And I guess my question is, in 2014, you guys started moving to, you partnered with IBM to move into a more, to focus on the cloud, and just how that affected the day-to-day operations in the organization as a result of that?
Yeah, so we're not fully there yet. So we're not fully on cloud, but it's been a large change management project for us. So, and a lot of it too has been upskilling our employees on moving to the cloud. And a lot of it has been just around enablement for us, and just continuous communication around this change from on-premise to cloud. We're not fully on the cloud yet, honestly speaking.
Okay. And then how did IBM, in terms of IBM, are they boots on the ground with you? Are they actively in the office space with you? Or
not actively in the office space. I'm not exactly sure how they from an engagement standpoint with SAP, you know, how exactly they operate with us. But no, they don't have an office within our office here.
And then because you are moving to the cloud, and obviously that has its own set of issues because of security concerns and that kind of thing, are you focusing on that aspect? Is there a heavy focus on that as well?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Huge.
So what kind of, so those are obviously positions that, are those positions open to juniors? I mean, would that be something that you'd be willing to train?
Yeah, give me an example of a type of role that you're interested in, Laura.
Well, I was influenced because I have a family member who, as a young person who is coding, I mean, it's one of those relationship stories, right? You know, when I think of your company, I think of how nice the software engineer was to a family member who was learning how to code, and the emphasis on white hat and the importance of that, and it really was a beautiful gesture that they were so open to this relative of mine. So I guess I'm just sort of, I'm interested in, I guess I'm just saying that if you have a culture of learning and you have a culture that's open to security, that I don't know, I'm lost in that.
So Lauren, so just to give you an idea, a lot of people are learning like JavaScript to be like front end or back end engineers. For those types of positions, do you hire people like out of boot camps? Can you maybe share a little bit about that?
Great question. Depends on the team. So some teams don't have a strict requirement in regards to where our talent is coming from. But this is something that HR at the global level, and in particular, one of our HR leaders out of our second major hub in Newtown Square is really pushing this change in mindset. So not that we don't hire straight out of boot camp, but it's not consistent across all of our engineering teams right now, unfortunately. But not to say that it won't be in the future. It has to be in the future. I mean, when we look at the jobs that we'll have open in the next 5 years, if we're only looking at recruiting from traditional talent pathways, like four-year universities, we will have no way to fill all of our open positions in the US. So this is something that our global HR team, our talent acquisition team, our recruiter team is really pushing, and it's not coming from HR, it's more coming from that change of mindset in the managers themselves. So it's not consistent, unfortunately, but this is something we're actively working on.
Yeah, and Lauren, a continuation of that question. I know we have people in our community who are different ages, different age groups. And almost every time people ask questions, because they want to see if you're someone who is in your 40s or you're someone in your 50s who is learning how to code, you actually have the skills now and you're going into the job search. Are there things that like SAP's HR department does to make sure that they don't get discriminated against?
We don't have any active, I mean, this is something clearly that we talk about a lot or have talked about a lot within HR. And we have a lot of non-biased training or unbiased training that we do. But this is something that we're actively working on, but we don't have a global initiative, if I will. But yes, I mean, we are aware of, you know, ensuring that these individuals are not getting discriminated against when they go and apply. Because for us, it's more about, do you have the skills and do you fit within the culture versus anything else.
Do you have engineers currently employed that are in their 40s and 50s?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, cool.
Thomas got a question.
Thomas, what is your question? Thomas, you're muted. Thomas? Yeah, you're good now.
Now I'm unmuted. Lauren, I have a question for you.
Okay.
I just turned 44, okay? I'm not focusing on front end or back end. I'm focusing on full stack web development.
Cool.
I want to know when I'm done, is it possible for me to get a job with your company being well-rounded, doing both front-end development and back-end? Because I do have experience with Python and PyCharm and PHP and other back-end elements, as I'm also doing Ruby right now. So is it possible for me after I graduate to get into a company like yours to do both aspects as opposed to one aspect?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was going to say, just to add to your comment, Thomas, the way that SAP is structured, and we have all these acquired companies, for example, Hybris, Ariba, Fieldglass, SuccessFactors, Altascale, Qualtrics. The cool thing is with all these acquired companies, we have different needs from an engineering standpoint. So yes, there are jobs for full stack engineers like yourself.
Cool. Yeah, let's hear what other questions do you all have about careers, preparing, about SAP, about Lauren's story. Don't be shy.
Jacob, calling from Houston. Well, I'm living in Connecticut now, but my question is, are there any jobs available for like blockchain development?
Ooh, there are jobs. In Connecticut, though, we don't have a big. I mean, the closest office there would be our NYC office, and that is primarily focused on marketing and some sales roles. We may have some remote positions. I do know we have some blockchain here in Palo Alto.
Okay, thanks. Do y'all do any relocation?
We do relocation.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Lauren, does SAP do any apprenticeships?
Yes. Okay, so to answer this question, this is a conversation that started last year out of the team that I was in. So in particular, focused locally in Silicon Valley, we looked at, okay, there's a huge equity gap. And overall companies now, the conversation, especially with tech companies, is we can't just be consumers of talent, we have to be developers of talent. When we, not to get too broad here, but looking at our education system and looking at technology moving so quickly, a lot of times the benefit of an apprenticeship program is we get to build the curriculum based on the right skills that we need at the right time. And so this is the conversation we had a year ago. We're hopefully going to be piloting a UX UI apprenticeship program this year. So this is in conversation right now, and this is something that I'm actively working on myself.
Awesome.
We don't have one yet, but hopefully it's coming by the end of this year. But I'm hoping that once we have a pilot case for an apprenticeship program, this will open up the floodgates to other roles for software engineering, data analytics, and some other roles that we need just locally in all of our big major tech hubs.
Yeah, that's definitely exciting because by the time a lot of people in Career Karma are just teaching themselves, sounds like by the time you will have an apprenticeship program at SAP, they'll be getting out of coding boot camps or data science boot camps, and there might be some interesting overlap.
Absolutely. And there's 20 companies in the Valley that I'm engaged with that either have apprenticeship programs or are currently building them. IBM, actually, I don't know if you guys have talked to them yet, but they have about 300 apprentices in the US, and they have about 8 occupations that they're focused on. I don't remember exactly which occupations they're focused on, but they have, out of all of us big tech companies, they're doing the most apprentices. Amazon has an apprenticeship program as well as Microsoft. So it's coming. We're growing apprentices quickly.
And for the people that didn't hear that, you said 20 companies you're engaged with that have apprenticeships?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's just the beginning. It's about to go down.
Yes.
You're doing the movement.
And that's just in Silicon Valley. So, I mean, in the US, these apprenticeship programs are popping up all over the place. Chicago has a really big apprenticeship network. NYC is now engaging in the conversation. Texas, that's where one of the apprenticeship programs that IBM has is. I don't remember exactly what city, but these are beginning to happen. Colorado, starting to pop up. So you just wait. When you guys are done with your boot camps, I'm hoping that we're going to start building more and more apprenticeship programs.
Love it. Can you talk a little bit about the work you're doing to engage the community with and bridging that with the work you're doing with SAP? I know you do a lot internally and externally.
Yeah, so just in general with the community here in Silicon Valley?
Or like with workforce development and nonprofits, and like how you're thinking about engaging everything else.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so it's in particular, I'm focused on apprenticeship. So I run an apprenticeship consortium with other tech companies. Now connected to this apprenticeship consortium, there's workforce development groups that I'm also engaged with, as well as engaged at the government level. And again, this is in particular to California, but also engaged with our Department of Labor here in California, Department of Education, to really start to influence more and more companies on building out apprenticeship programs. And not just in tech, but in healthcare. And actually a big trend right now that I'm seeing is cybersecurity apprenticeship programs. So there's a few happening here in the Valley. I know Palo Alto Networks has a cybersecurity apprenticeship program. Who else has one? I think Symantec potentially starting a cybersecurity apprenticeship program as well. So a lot of the work that I'm doing is, you know, if you think about the whole ecosystem, you have government that's like really slow and on their own island. They have no idea what's happening like in the tech world. No offense to them. I tell them this to their face and they're like, yeah, we know. We're trying to get better. And then you have nonprofits and community-based organizations that are doing really amazing work when it comes to, you know, developing boot camps and offering, you know, coding for free and all of these really great resources just at the local level. And then you have us employers. So I'm trying to create this ecosystem where we all talk to each other and we all know what's happening with one another, because right now and for many years, we've really been disengaged with one another. And then the last piece is the educational institutions. So I'm seeing more of a trend of companies and universities as well as community colleges that are partnering together and creating curriculum, creating entire certification programs, associate degrees that are specific to what those companies need in a particular area. So all of this is really exciting, and I'm just happy that more and more people are doing this work, whether it's at the government level or down to the individual level, like myself, just engaging with these organizations outside of SAP.
Yeah, and you're not just trying to do it, you're doing it. And essentially what you're saying is the people here on this call are essentially about to ride a big wave. And it's awesome that you're giving them these exclusives. I got to make moves, but thank you for joining us. Timo's going to keep holding it down, but keep up the good work. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Yeah. And we have about 20 minutes left of this AMA, so I wanna see if other people have any questions.
I have a question. I know Timur advised to first kind of start off with your vision of what you would like to do, or what you would look for in the culture of a job. I have a background in branding, marketing, a little bit of graphic design, and a little bit of animation as well. In addition, obviously, I'm currently in boot camp at Lambda. I actually just got out of school, so my brain is moving really slow right now. But I was curious. I know you brought up the encouragement to be able to. It sounds like, growth is a very strong aspect of what your company does or has a focus on. I wanted to kind of expound on it because I've been at places before in previous positions where that was spoken about. Then I've been in positions where they were like, "You're really good at what you do, and we really can't let you go from that position." Is there a way that you guys pay attention to those type of things and focus on it to ensure that that doesn't happen because someone is so talented that they get stagnated into a position? And also, it's a hybrid question. I just wanted to know, could you kind of describe like a day-to-day of an associate of what happens within their job experience?
Yeah, so I'll tackle the first question first. So you have a talented employee, and some managers have the mindset that they're so talented. We call it hoarding talent. They're so good, I want to keep them for myself. So what we have done is we embed a lot of these this mindset shift and change within a lot of our leadership classes. So we've built 5 levels of leadership classes, and no matter what level you are, whether you're an aspiring leader, which means you're not yet a people manager, but you want to be a people manager, all the way up to the top level, the men and women that report directly to our CEO, including our CEO. He's also gone through this leadership class. And what we teach in these classes is a couple of things, but there's this really great book called Multipliers. And I can send, a PDF of the summary of the book, or Timur, I can send you the PDF to share with everybody. But the concept is this. So the woman that wrote this book, she was an executive at Oracle. And every day while she was working at Oracle, she would go to the coffee corner and she'd get her coffee and she'd see this employee. And they'd have a chat, and this employee was just so vibrant and had all this energy. But one day she met this employee, and this employee was like almost a different person. They were really negative and just really down and out. And she was wondering, okay, what changed? They have the same job. They're on the same team. They do the same things. The only difference is their manager changed. So, and what she began to study and realize is the difference in amazing managers and leaders and not so great managers and leaders. And so being a multiplier and having this multiplier mindset is understanding that you actually lose good talent faster.
Yes.
But you need to understand that you need to let that good talent go. You keep that good talent on your team, then what ends up happening is this snowball effect. The good talent becomes not happy, potentially unproductive. Maybe their employee engagement score goes down every year when they're asked, do you like your team, etc. Then what happens is their attitude starts to rub off on their other team members. And it's this like massive snowball effect. So what we teach our managers is you have to be a multiplier. It is important for the company's bottom line to act as a multiplier manager, because what you want is, believe it or not, the best leaders lose talent the fastest. Not because they're bad leaders or managers, but because they're so amazing at developing their people, and their people develop so quickly that they actually move out into other, and they're so encouraging of them moving to other teams and taking on other projects and doing other roles, that actually the best leaders lose talent the fastest. You would actually think that horrible managers lose talent the fastest, but in actuality, they hoard their talent. So exactly what you were saying is they say, oh, I have this amazing talent. I don't want to let them go. So anyways, sorry, long story short, we teach our managers to adopt the multiplier mindset. The opposite of a multiplier mindset is to be a diminisher. So I'll send the PDF summary, because we teach this not to just people managers, but we also teach this across the board to employees as well, is to understand that developing people and letting them go when they're good is so important.
Lauren, that's a great response. I'm looking at the comments and the Diarte. He's like, I feel triggered. She keeps speaking about my position right now. LOL. Diarte, do you want to jump in and share a little bit about your story and why you want to break into tech?
Oh boy, where do I begin? Okay. So I'm just going to go full disclosure here. I did send a message to Lauren earlier. As soon as I saw this call was from a person from SAP, I wanted to jump in because my company has a long-term partnership with SAP, specifically SuccessFactors. So I wanted to learn the other aspects of things and all. And, she hit the nail on the head with a lot of it, like everything. Overall, that pretty much what you said about the whole leadership levels and just teaching everyone how to have the same leadership levels and just being able to build a more positive environment to where you're multiplying and you're developing better future leaders into the world and all. That is something I wish I had in the job that I'm in. That's kind of one of the small factors of why I'm jumping into tech, is because right now, currently, I feel that I am stuck in the position that I'm in. Just because, for one, we're mostly an automated company. A lot of our company is through automation. It's either through automation or it's through offshoring. And so it basically, especially in the US, it really puts a low morale onto a lot of the workers here. And so it's like we are always looking for ways to grow. And it just seems like right now, especially with the merger and everything, it just seems there's nowhere to grow. So for me, because I also freelance and I also freelance with writing and with brand strategy, I pretty much wanted to develop a road path for me to be able to find my own opportunities, forge ways for not only myself, but people behind me to, basically be able to develop a new generation of leaders and all, because it's something like that, we have so many, especially in corporate America, that are trying to hold on to the status quo and it's not working. And so, I mean, I really appreciate you speaking out to us today, because a lot of this is really, it really, really hit home for me.
Thanks for sharing a little bit about your personal story. The chats are pretty interesting too. I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling of on the outside, right? When someone looks at your LinkedIn, they're like, "Oh, this person has these skills, that this job, they must be happy." But inside of you, LinkedIn doesn't tell the full story of how you actually feel, right? Or how you feel about your role, about the people you work with. And I think as human beings, sometimes it's not even the company. We just get bored of doing the same role like for 2-3 years, and we want to find a new challenge. And in the future, there's going to be more and more of you owning your career and you consistently leveling up and exploring different sides of yourself. Because like today, you might be interested in engineering. In 5 years, you might be doing something with design, and then you're going to be combining those skill sets to create something unique that only you're qualified to do, because you have this dichotomy of skills that makes you that kind of unicorn in whatever you want to do. And in the future, those are going to be the people with the most leverage. I want to pass it over to the community. We have about 10 minutes left. Any other questions for Lauren? Don't be shy.
I have a question.
Okay, Brandy.
Okay, so Lauren, I've been out of the workforce now for almost 11 years, and so one of the things that I've realized, like as I'm applying for part-time jobs, so I try to just keep my family afloat right now, is that I get no responses. So as far as someone who's got to be going through boot camp fresh and then trying to get into the workforce, like how would you all at your company, how would you all look at that and make a decision like based on someone who's just been a stay-at-home mom, and not to diminish that, but a lot of companies do. How would you all weigh that factor?
So, and let me just make sure I understood your question. So you're asking, while you're in a boot camp, are there any opportunities for part-time jobs, right? Is that correct?
No, well, that's a good question as well. But no, what I'm saying is, like, when I get out of boot camp and I actually get ready to go into the field, like, how heavily will it weigh against me, at least in your eyes, to have someone who's been out of the workforce for almost 11 years?
Oh, that's a good question. That is a very good question. So, and I'm going to speak to locally what we're doing here in Silicon Valley, but I will say that this is something that a lot of companies are, not just tech companies, but any companies really looking at, is this gap in jobs. So we work with this company called Path Forward, and specifically what they do is they work with men and women that have been out of the workforce for a minimum of, I think, 3 or 4 years and beyond. Because we understand that there's a huge barrier for entry for men and women that have been out of the workforce for an extended period of time. And, you know, it could be a family member was sick. It could be you're taking care of a child. It could be for many, many reasons. But this is something that we are looking at. And we know that it's important for us to continue to develop this talent pipeline. So this is something that we're working with Path Forward in Silicon Valley and actually in our New York office as well. So, but this is something that we are aware of. And from a recruiter standpoint, we look at more of the skills that you have and past work experience, if any, of course, depending on the role, or any transferable skills versus, you know, you've been out of the workforce for 11 years. But I do know that that is a huge barrier for many men and women that us companies now are aware of. And that's why there's such a need for organizations like Path Forward and others that do that type of work.
Okay, and if you could please answer your other question as well about the part-time positions while currently in boot camp.
Yeah, so I can't speak to any, and I kind of set myself up for that question. I can't think of any that I know of in engineering. We usually look for full-time men and women for our engineering roles. But I can look into that to see if we have any part-time engineering roles. But for us, it's hard to bring on a part-time engineer in particular.
Lauren, let me ask you a follow-up question on that.
Sure.
What about, I know some people are transitioning from like customer support into engineering. Do you know if there's any remote customer support roles that people can do part-time while they're doing like a full-time or a part-time boot camp? Because that would actually unlock a lot of opportunities for someone to have a schedule that is flexible, but at the same time they can do a remote job from anywhere, and that would be a huge edge for our community.
Okay, that is a really good question. I don't have the answer, but I want to bring that up to my not only my company but the other companies that I work with. Because I think that that's going to be a trend that we're going to see a lot of, and there's a huge need. So I think that's a really, really good question.
The reason I'm asking too is there is a school called Kenzie Academy, and they do like a full-time boot camp that's 12 months long, but their hours are from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. Eastern, and then they help you get a customer support job with Apple for that duration of time. So you have income coming in. And since a lot of our community, they're nationwide, so they can go to like a remote job would fulfill that need. A lot of them have kids. A lot of them cannot just quit their day job to not work for 12 months, you know? So if there was anything that SAP can provide in terms of like work while they're in a boot camp, I think it would just be a game-changing, it would be a game changer for most people in Career Karma.
Absolutely. And that's a question I want to open up to some of my other friends that work in apprenticeship companies and workforce development companies, because I think you are asking a really good question that we need to have an answer to.
Yeah.
So I would love to look into it for you, because there must be something out there. So let me tap my network, because I think that this, if we could, through the Career Karma community, if we could say, need a part-time job, click this link, then the companies obviously get their jobs filled, because there might be people that say, hey, I don't want part-time, I want full-time. So maybe these companies are also looking for talent that can only do part-time.
Yeah. I think one thing you'll find about our community is that people take their personal development very seriously, and they're gonna do a really good job. Like if this opportunity existed, they would actually take it seriously, and if they're working 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week, they would put all in to make sure that the companies also see that this is like a really dedicated employee. Because at the end of the day, like we're talking about development talent, like this is an easy way for them to bring them, kind of help them transition. Eventually, after they become a developer and finish a bootcamp, they can hire them for their engineering teams or other teams within the company. So I'll take you up on it, Lauren. I'll definitely follow up with you after to see what we can create, maybe like a small pilot. But out of curiosity, for people on the call, how many people would find something like this helpful for your career transition if it existed?
Man, you put on your CEO hat for a minute there, brother. That was a great question. Great question.
So if you look at the comments, I think a lot of people would definitely find this valuable. I know we only have a few minutes left. Lauren, I asked this question to all the guests, but basically when it comes to imposter syndrome, I think everyone feels it. I feel it. I felt it when I was doing a coding boot camp. I feel it even as I'm building Career Karma. Can you talk a little bit about, like, personally, do you ever feel imposter syndrome? And if you do, how do you deal with it, and how do you make yourself overcome that feeling?
I mean, all the time. And, you know, my career path was, I studied economics and business, which is so broad. So every job I ever had, I've learned on the job. So, you know, I did accounting, I did PR, I did marketing, I did conference management, I did learning and development. And everyone asked me, how did you get into learning and development? And I said, I don't know. I just applied for a job. I didn't study it. I had no idea what I was doing. And so I think, you know, I question myself a lot. And so how I get over having imposter syndrome is I talk to my mentors in SAP and outside of SAP. I talk to my peers, I talk to my friends, and just understanding that this is something that a lot of us go through. And hearing other people's stories is just so helpful for me, because a lot of people, you know, this is something very real, and a lot of people are super open about their own experiences. So yeah, I mean, even to be completely honest, even in my new team, I came from HR, and I came into working in the business, and now I'm building out this engineering academy. And even when I got this new job, it was like immediate imposter syndrome. And I was nervous and scared, and I just thought, why am I here? Am I really the right fit for this? Do I deserve this job? You know, how did I get here? And all these questions start to flood in. But I think it's just about, finding that internal confidence over and over and saying, look, here's all the challenges that you've overcome. You've done it before, you can do it again. But then also talking to other people that I admire that have mentored me in my career has been totally helpful for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great, thanks a lot for sharing that, Lauren. And this has been a pleasure just hearing you talk about your personal journey, and then just hearing about the scale of SAP and how much talent talent you employ, but also how much talent you help develop. It's truly it's truly amazing, and I just can't wait for Career Karma members to start getting jobs at SAP. And I know you shared your email in the chat. If people don't capture it, if you're on your phone, just reach out to me after and I can share it. Is there another way, like, are you on Twitter? Any other way for people to stay in touch with you?
Okay, so Ruben makes fun of me all the time. I'm on Twitter, but I haven't tweeted ever. So you can reach me on email or LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. Okay. I know I need to get on Twitter. I will. That's one of my goals. But yeah, please send me an email. And the thing, honestly, I put my email there because honestly, I want to help y'all. So I didn't do that just for show. Mm-hmm. So truly, I mean, one of the biggest things that I love is expanding my network and helping others that aren't in my direct circle. Because that's how we expand, all of this amazing talent in tech, is by helping other people that we're not directly connected to. So seriously, please reach out to me, and I will answer your questions.
Yeah. And I know from my, having spoken to thousands of people on this journey, and Ruben Archer and I have been doing it for the last 5 years through breaking into startups, through Career Karma. And it's truly amazing to see how leaders get developed. Like, you might be speaking to someone who doesn't have a laptop, but in 2 years, that person is now a software engineer. And in 2 years later, they're managing others. And so that's why it's so important to have this community and this network, because you all are the future leaders, future entrepreneurs and mentors. And it all starts now. You take small steps, you keep going, you don't give up, and then you just start building and solving problems for yourself and helping others. So truly happy that you were able to share so much great advice with our community. We'll keep you posted. I'll definitely follow up with you about the part-time jobs if there's anything SAP or any of the other companies can do. And yeah, let's break in. Lauren, thanks a lot, and thanks a lot, Career Karma, for sticking around. If people want to stick around for the draft call, I just dropped the Zoom link, and so you can check it out too. But Lauren, have a great day. Thanks a lot for joining.